Okay, we're going to start now. Those are done, raise your hands up in Zoom. Those are done with this question, raise your hands up. We'll start in a while. Yes, Walaikum Salam. No, Ayla. What do you call? Only the first lesson was lesson based. From apart from programming, others all will be mixed. Only first lesson is lesson based because the other lessons and all we'll be doing in the class itself. Walaikum Salam, Ashraf. Good evening. The whole page, yeah, there's just three questions. Yeah, after this is over, I'll do that today. Okay, only 14 of you all have done. What man, others? This is a very easy question. What we all doing? Anyways, let's start. I'll just remind me at the end, okay? End of the class, I'll let you know. I am the other question I'm going to explain. I'm just seeing, do I have the PDF? I remember having the PDF first question. Did I miss the PDF? I think I missed the PDF. Should search it. Okay, let's start. Understand the question. I think as far as I can remember. Okay, let's start. So the question says, for each of the following statements given below from A to D, identify the category to which each device shown in bold belongs to based on its technology. Okay. Normally, if you take computer, listen all of you. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. So normally, if you take the computer, you can categorize computers as types of computers based on two things. Okay. We can categorize based on the technology. And apart from the technology, there's one more factor which we can categorize based on. What is that? All right. So apart from technology, what's the other factor which we can categorize based on? You can even generate it using ChatGPT, Zora. No, I'm searching for a paper. I couldn't find it still. Like this paper's PDF, I'm just scrolling. I can't. I don't know otherwise. Correct. One is you can categorize based on technology, and second one is you can categorize based on the size. Okay. Yes, the physical size. Correct. So one is technology, other one is size. Okay. So based on technology, there are three categories. One is the analog computer, and how do you? I have the paper as a paper, not as a PDF. I remember taking the PDF. I don't know where is it. I had to search it. That's what I said. So based on what you call technology, we have three. One is analog, second one is digital, and third one is the hybrid computer. So these are three categories we have based on technology. In terms of size, what is the largest size computer we have? Oh, you can use Canva and make Zora. Correct. The largest size computer we have is supercomputer, and these are most powerful computer. So after supercomputer, next most powerful we have is mainframe, and after mainframe computer we have, and finally the normal personal use computers we call them as the microcomputers. Okay, so these are the classifications we have of computers. So in that question they asked, Rida, this was a question I gave. So in this question they asked, based on technology, they asked us to categorize A, B, C, D. Okay, so that means we have to figure out is A, B, C, D, but are they coming on analog, digital, or hybrid? Okay, so let's go one by one. The first answer they have mentioned here as an ECG machine is used to monitor the heartbeat. Right. Now, for those who can't remember what is analog, digital, and hybrid, when you take computers, computers can understand only ones and zeros, right? So how do you call these ones and zeros? There's a common word we can use for ones and zeros. What is it? Perfect. We call them as binaries. So if you take computers, computers can understand only ones and zeros. Okay. So within the computer, that means, if you take within the computer, you have several electronic components. Okay. So between these components, for example, let's say between CPU and let's say a speaker. Okay. Your speaker is an electronic component, your CPU is an electronic component. So let's say your CPU and speaker are communicating with each other. Then when the data is traveling from here to there, let's say the data is going to be traveling only using ones and zeros, okay, in the form of ones and zeros. So the data is going to be traveled using just ones and zeros. Then that type of signal, that signal that's going from here to there, that type of signal we call as digital signals. If the signal is going to be passed by just ones and zeros, we call those signals as digital signals. Okay. Now, if you take what you call our personal computers, our laptop, mobile phones, normal any normal computer you would take, within the computer, all the communication happens in the form of ones and zeros. So therefore, our normal personal computer we call them as digital computers. Okay, but there are certain computers where within the computer, when data is being traveling, the data that's being communicated are always not just ones and zeros, but let's say there will be different values. Like for example, a series of values like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, kilo. There can be a series of values, not just ones and zero. So for example, let's say we have a thermometer. Okay. Let's say I have a digital thermometer. I'll just draw a weird picture here of a thermometer. Okay. So let's say this is the thermometer, right? Now the thermometer, Or let's say we have display here. These are digital thermometers. We have display here, right? Now, this is, let's say, the display. And let's say this is the sensor of the thermometer. Now, if you take the thermometer, it is used to measure the temperature, right? So what's going to happen is the sensor will figure out what the temperature is, and the sensor is going to send this data to the display, right? So tell me, in this situation, when the data is traveling and when the data is visible in display, this data, is it normally in ones and zero, or do you see it in decimal numbers? We are done with it, Abdurrahman Ishaq. Correct. Those normally go in decimal numbers, right? So if you take those kind of datas, those data that are traveling from this sensor, what you call the thermometers and all, those sensors are normally taking data in the form of analog signals. So here the data is traveling in the form of analog signals. This data is going to be in varying value. That means the data is not just in ones and zeros. The data traveling from the sensor will be having varying value. Varying value means value that's can be any number greater than one as well. Okay, if it's digital computers, the data that's being passed is always only ones and zeros. But analog signals are numbers apart from ones and zeros as well. Okay, and hybrid computers is a mixture of both of them. So if your device has both, it can measure data. It has sensors that can measure varying values, as well as the data inside the data inside the device are going to be transferred in ones and zeros. Both, if both are going to happen, then those come under hybrid computers. So if you take what you call this ECG machine, ECG machine is used to monitor the heartbeat. Okay. So when the sensor is going to, let's say, check our heartbeat, is our heartbeat something that has just two values, like on, off? Is that how heartbeat works? Like, is it just two values, 1 0 1 0 kilo? Is our heartbeat something like that? Is it a single value? Every day until like the first 6 7 days we watch drama. No. If you have seen what do you call these ECG reports, you will know. Okay, if you have seen a ECG report, you might know the value of the heartbeat is not constant. You can see this, the wave is not the wave is not like just 1 0 1 0 wave. You can see the wave has like a varying value, ups and downs. Okay, it's not clear. Let me open this picture. So you can see the wave is not just a one, like two values. It's not just 1 0 1 0. Okay, it's not just two values. You can see the varying value of how your ECG or how your heartbeat is being what do you called processed, right? So therefore, if you take those ECG machines, that sensor which takes your heartbeat is right. It takes your heartbeat. So this part, it's taking analog signals. This signal which you're getting here is actually analog signal. Okay. But if you look at the ECG machine, if I'm going to show you an ECG machine, have they given ECG machine or ECG machine? Yeah, ECG machine. If you all see the ECG machine, okay, it has a full machine here. It's not just dependent on only those what you call one sense. It's not just only dependent on those what do you call directly taking the value and showing the value. Okay, it's not just taking the value and showing the value. There are some processing it will do as well, and it can do apart from this. Even you can maintain the patient details as well. In certain ECG machines, you can enter the patient details as well, and in this slip here, your name will be there. I think you can see here sometimes. Sometimes the left side, even the patient details all are printed. Okay. So majority of the ECG machines, it has that sensor which is the sensor which is collecting your heartbeat. That is analog signals. But within the computer, the data is processed in, or within the device, the data is processed as in the form of digital signals. So when you have analog and digital both used together, how do you call such computers as? How do you call the computers that use both analog and digital signals? Perfect. Those are called the hybrid computers. So ECG machine is actually a hybrid computer. So first one answer is hybrid. I'll give you marks at last, okay? Second question. The meteorological device are used in farming to assess weather conditions and climatic change. If you take meteorological device, in meteorological device, you can get temperature, you can get wind speed, all those stuffs. What type of machine is a meteorological device? Is it analog, digital, or hybrid? Correct. Meteorological device that comes on analog. Okay, it just takes the temperature and it'll show you. It just takes the wind speed, it might show you. There is no big processing or something it's going to do. It'll just take the value and show it to you. Okay. A laptop computer used for video conferencing. Okay, our personal computers, the laptops, they come under. I told you a while ago actually. The laptop, phones, all our personal computers, correct. They come under the category of digital computers. Road lamps are used to automatically light roads, thereby improving the transportation system. Road lamp is also analog. Wait. Road lamp is analog. No. If you take road lamp, it depends on two things. Is light available or is light absent? That is, yeah. Sorry, what do you call the road lamp? If you take automatic road lamp, it's actually analog computer. The reason is because the road lamp is dependent on one factor. It is dependent on the availability of light, mostly sunlight. Okay. So when you take sunlight, sunlight is not a fixed value. It has a varying value. Okay. For example, if you compare morning, let's say around 7 a.m. sun and evening the 3 p.m. sun, both of the time it's bright. But even though both of the time it's bright, is the level of sun the same? Is the brightness level the same or is the heat level the same? No. So it's not a fixed value. Okay. It's not just like on, off kill. It's not just a fixed value. So it's a varying value as well, right? It's a varying value as well. And the road lamp will obtain that varying value. And if that varying value is less than this amount, if that varying value is more than this amount, there is a measurement of how they will measure the light intensity. And then depending on the system, depending on the circuit, it will decide whether to on the light or keep the light off. Okay. So therefore, it's a analog computer. I'll give you marks at last after I answer all the questions. Anyone have any doubts here? So if you got the answers correct, mark it correct. Next. Is automated road lamp used in Sri Lanka? Yeah, in some places, people use it for their personal purposes, By the way, those who are having weird names, you can rename yourself through the chat, through the participants list. I'll give you around 5 minutes to 3 minutes to rename. If you don't rename, I just kick you out of the class in 2 minutes. Huh? Just a disclaimer. Consider the following scenarios and the given equipments. For each scenario, select the most suitable network topology that can be created using all the given devices. So they're asking us to decide the network topology. So topology means how first of all, I'll tell you what I mean by network. A network is where multiple devices are interconnected with each other. So for example, let's say I have three computers. If these three computers are just standalone, which means there is no any connections between them, they are just available in a room, then that's not a network. Okay. For it to be a network, there has to be some sort of connection between them. So if these devices are interconnected with each other, then you can call that as a network. Now there are different ways of how you can connect devices. So the different ways of how devices can be arranged in a network, that is what we call as a topology. So topology is talking about how devices can be arranged. Okay. So for example, if I'm going to draw four computers can be connected like this. A can be connected to B can be connected to C can be connected to D, and they can share data within them. Or else it can be a situation where A, B, C, D, all four of them are connected to a switch or hub, and through a switch or hub, they're transferring data. Or it could be a situation where A, B, C, D, if you have four computers, A is connected to B, A is connected to C, A is connected to D. One computer is connected to all other computers. Same, B is connected to A, B with C, B with D. Okay. So these are different way of arrangement. So these different ways how computers can be arranged. Now here also four computers, here also four computers. But the different ways of how computers can be arranged in a network, that is what we call as topology. So the different arrangements. So topology, keep in mind, topology refers to how devices are arranged. Okay, how devices are arranged in a network, the arrangement. So the question is saying there is a narrow space to establish a communication center, and space must be kept clear for people to move through. Okay, so that means we can't, what do you call, we have to use the space efficiently, a small space only. You can't have too many wires and all going. So there are three computers, one printer, and few cable. Okay, there is three printers, three computers, one printer, and few cables. First of all, let's figure out what are the options we have. When you take what you call this network topologies, tell me what is the name of the topology where all the devices are connected to a central switch or hub? What do you call the name of the topology where all the devices are connected to a central switch or hub like this basically? Either that is basically motion sensor. So that is not what do you call that is motion sensor and not light sensor. So therefore that is most probably digital. Correct. That's called the star topology. In star, not bus. Okay, that's star. Bus is wrong. In bus, we don't use switch or hub. Star topology. Okay, in star topology, all the devices are connected to a central switch or hub. Okay. Then there's another topology where you have all the, what do you call, you have a main cable. We also call it backbone cable. And all the devices are connected to this main cable. What do you call this topology as? Perfect. We call that as the bus topology. And how do you call the topology where one device is connected to a maximum of two devices? Like for example, here one device is connected to a maximum of two devices. One device connected to a maximum of two devices. Correct. You can see it's like a circle as well, right? Perfect. It's called the ring topology. Then there's another topology where one device is connected to all other devices. See, one device is connected to all other devices. How do you call that test? Perfect. We call it as a mesh topology. Then there's another topology which combines the bus topology and star topology both together. It's something like this. For example, if you have this as a bus topology, in the bus topology, normally we have computers, no? But without having devices, we're going to have a switcher hub. And for this switcher hub, we're going to have multiple devices connected. So if you look at this part, this portion is like star. And this portion is like bus. So when bus and star mix with each other, what do you call that topology? Yes. Perfect. That's called the tree topology. So these are the topologies we have. Okay. Now, if you notice these topologies, for tree topology, we need a switch or hub. Apart from that, for star topology also, we need a switch or hub. Okay. So based on this, tell me, can we use star and tree? Is it possible to use that for the first scenario? No. Okay. So the question is saying there is a narrow space to establish a communication center and space must be kept clear for people to move through. Okay. So in this situation, you have three computers, one printer and few cable. Now let's go through bus, ring and mesh. Tell me if I have only few cable, can I go through mesh? No. So now we know we can't do star, we can't do tree, we can't do mesh. We have two, we can't do mesh. Okay, we have two options. We have the bus and the ring. Okay, we have the bus and the ring. Now, if you notice here, let's say, what do you call if I have three computers, that means let's say A, B, and C, and one printer. These are four computers I have to collect. If I want to connect this in a, let's say, bus topology, it would be something else. I have one main line. In his main line, I can connect the bus. So I can connect the, what do you call computer one, computer two, computer three, and printer. If it's a ring topology, it's going to be like this. Okay. If you have narrow space, compare to both, which one do you think is more suitable? The bus or the ring? Correct. If you have a narrow space, comparatively, the bus topology will be more suitable. Because if you're going to keep all four computers next to each other like this, then now you have to connect these two as well. So there's an unwanted wire that's getting waste that's going to come like this. But if you take bus, it's comparatively less when you compare. Okay. So the more suitable here is bus topology. Wrote bus topology, mark your answer correct. Always in these kind of questions, more than focusing what's the correct answer, you can evacuate the wrong answers, like which you know definitely this can't happen, this can't happen, this can't happen. So once you what do you call remove all the negative possibilities, now you're remaining with the positive possibilities. So that will make your work easy in finding answers. Have they asked to draw that? They have asked to draw it. So because they've asked to draw it, you can draw it like this. So you can draw, but keep in mind, we're not drawing a label it as well. So you can draw, shape is not a problem, but you have to label it. So I will call this computer one, computer two. I'll redraw it here properly. So it's going to be something like this. Computer one. I'll draw it here itself. Dun, dun, dun. For that question, most probably they might give marks for ring topology as well. Okay. So if you wrote ring and drew the ring topology, that's also fine. And you can call this as the, it's called the main cable, also known as the backbone cable. Do the labeling as well. I don't think they will check marks for this main cable, backbone cable part, but better mention that. Okay. You can draw ring topology as well. It's completely fine. Not a problem. So this is Roman number 2A. Others are wrong, but ring and bus is fine. Because there's a small difference only in ring and bus. But how will we connect printer to all the computer and ring topology? All are connected using RJ45 cable ports. It's all connected to the main cable. All are using RJ45 port. Except star and tree, what does the other topology is based on switcher hub? I literally mentioned only star and bus. But you call, sorry, star and tree needs the switcher hub. Tree also needs because the meaning of tree is combination of bus and star. So technically the star needs switcher hub. I mean, won't only two computers be able to use a printer? No, no, all three will be able to use. Why can't we use star and tree topology? Is it because they use switcher hub? Yes, correct. Because in our available device, we don't have switcher hub here. Therefore, you can't use it. In some bus topology diagram, computers are present on either side of the main cable. That's also fine. Ratio. I drew the bus topology where the computers are connected on both the sides up and down. That's fine, no issues. As long as there's a main cable and computers are connected to the main cable, you're good to go. Ring is correct, but space, no issue. It's like this. You can connect the ring like this as well. See, so technically, behind the computer, the wire will go. There doesn't have. I mean, you don't have to keep a space here. Behind the computer, it will go. So not a problem. If you're drawing a ring topology, but the arrangement should be something like this without a space. It should be like somewhere here. It's coming like this. So how the ring topology has to be technically. It's computer, printer. That's fine. That's fine. Arrangement is not a problem. You can order. You can mess up. No issues. But if I didn't draw the diagram, but draw the correct answer, they might give you only half marks. So better draw because they're asking the diagram. So better draw the diagram. Next, a company has recently digitalized its office. It has three computers, one printer, cable, and a switch. So if you have switch, now you have two options. One is star and one is tree. So you just have three computers. Okay. I mean, three computers and one printer, only four devices. So because you have four devices, you don't have to complicate stuffs. You can just draw the star topology. But if you want, you can go for tree as well. It's your wish. Okay. So tree is also correct. But star is also correct. For this, if you ask me what is more suitable, I would say star. Star is less number of devices you have, so star is completely fine. But for here, star also correct, tree also correct. You can draw both. Let me show you how you can draw the star, how you can draw the what you called for B, how you can draw the star, and how you can draw the bus. Not bus, star and tree. If it's the star topology, you'll have the computer 1 and then computer 2 and then computer 3. Sorry, computer 3 and the printer. You can connect all of them to a switch. So this is how. Make sure you label a computer, switch, printer, label it properly. So this is how the start topology would be. The same thing you can represent in the tree as well, like this. So computer 1, computer 2, and computer 3. And so you can tell all three are going to be connected to a switch. And this switch is going to be connected to main cable. And for the same main cable, you have the printer converter as well. But they are unwantedly complicated. So you can decide, do you want to go for the tree or star? My recommendation is go for the star because this is unwantedly complicating stuffs. Okay. So here also, even here, if you can mention bus and ring. Here you can mention star and tree. But again, like I said, star is the most suitable one. Any questions, anyone? You all are clear why I chose that, right? Because they've used switch. I use that. If they had not mentioned the word called switch, then I would have think about some other options. Huh? That's how you decide. Roman number 3. The given image pattern is used to send a secret message in the pattern. Colored cells represent the value 1 and blank cells represent the value as 0. Okay, fine. Find the values represented in each row in order. Okay, they're saying colored value is 1 and other one is 0, right? So that means this is 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1. Okay, and this is 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. And this is 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. So what is each value in each row? So your answer for question A has to be that. For the question A, your answer has to be something like this. For question A, your answer will look something like 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, double 1. And below that, try the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Next is 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. I wrote 3 for the A and teacher gave wrong. Yeah. You understood the reason why I said you can't write 3 here? Because to make 3, you need switch or hub, but there is no switch given here. Yeah. Mm. Now question B. I didn't come to that still, Akil. Now only I'm going to go to question B. In question B, they are saying each row's bit pattern represents an ASCII value. Interesting. Determine each value and identify the hidden message. Okay, what is the message you all found? What is the message you all found? Let's see your message. Car. Let's see, is your answer correct? Okay. Basically, each row is representing a letter. Okay. And we are going to figure out what the letter is. Now, in data representation, apart from representing, numbers in the form of decimal, binary, all those stuffs, you can represent what do you call other characters like letters, numbers, symbols. You can represent these letters, numbers, symbols, all those stuffs using different coding systems. Okay. So to represent letters, numbers, and symbols, we have 3 coding systems. One is ASCII, one is ABCDIC, and one is Unicode. If you take your new syllabus, in the new syllabus, they had actually removed this ABCDIC. Okay. But I'll just let you all know what the idea is. The idea is simple. In ASCII, you're going to represent every character. Like, for example, if I take this word called car, C is one character, A is one character, R is one character, R is one character. Or if I use the word called, let's say, hi, and let's say exclamation mark, this H is one character, I is one character, exclamation mark is one character. Okay, these are all characters. Okay. So you would take ASCII. In ASCII, what happens is you're going to represent every character using 7 bits. ABCDI is a number system it's a coding system where you represent every character using 8 bits or 8 binary digits. Unicode is where every character is represented using 16 bits. The word bits means binary digit. Now comes the next question. If you take numbers, for example, if I could give you the number called 23, if I ask you to show this number in the form of 7 bits, 7 binary digits, then what you can do? You can easily convert 23 to binary and give me the answer. Okay, because from decimal to binary, you all have learned how to make. But if you take letters like A, B, C, these kind of letters, by default, does letters have a numeric value? Or let's say characters like full stop, comma, exclamation mark, do they have a numeric value by default? No, by default, they don't have a numeric value. So what happens is in America, there is an organization called ANSI, American National Standard Institute. Okay. So this organization called ANSI, what they did is they're the one who created this ASCII. Okay. For every character, I mean, by that time they had a list of 128 characters. They had a list of 128 characters, which includes numbers as well, which includes numbers, letters, and symbols. So what they did is, now let numbers means already has a value, no, but leaving aside the numbers for letters and symbols, okay, for capital letters separate, for simple letters separate, for every character they gave a numeric value. So I'll show you here. ASCII values. So there are 128 characters. You can see here. For every character, they gave a numeric value. Like if you nicely see here, you can see the value given for capital A is 65. The value given for simple A is 97. Okay. The value given for full stop is 46. The value given for hashtag is 35. So every character, okay, I mean, there's limited character. If you count 10, there's 128 characters here. For 128 characters, these are the characters, they give a respective numeric value. So now, if you have a numeric value, is it easy to convert a numeric value to binary? Because we want the answer in 7 bits. Numeric value, is it possible to convert? Yes. So the question says that these numbers are representing an ASCII value, and we are supposed to find what this ASCII value is. Okay, and they have given a hint saying in ASCII the letter A is 65. Okay, they are given a hint as well. So we know in ASCII The value of letter A is 65. This is the data we have got from the question as a helper. We know the numeric value given for letter A is 65. And we are supposed to find what is the value behind this ASCII code of 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to figure out what is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, double 1. And then 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Otherwise 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, double 0, 1, 0. So we have to figure out what are the values represented. Now, what we have to do is, first of all, we have to convert this binary value to decimal. Okay, this is a binary value. No, we are supposed to convert this binary value to decimal. I'll start with the second one. Okay, so I'll first of all show the usual method which you all follow. The normal method you all follow is basically you all write all the bits. Okay, you write all the bits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, you write all the bits, and below every bit you write the respective place value. Something like this is binary numbers, no? So binary place value you can get by this 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3, 2 to the power 4, 2 to the power 6. Sorry, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. So that's 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So the usual process is you find the place value for every bit. This is called the place value. Huh? We get the place value of every bit, and then we multiply every digit by its place value. That's basic 64 times 1 is 64. 32 times 0 is 0. 16 times 0 is 0. 8 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. And finally, we add them all together. These are the usual steps you all have to normally follow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you add them all together, it's 65. Okay. So that means the value for this binary number is actually 65. The binary value for this value is, so the decimal value for this is basically 65. Okay. Now the question already gave us a hint that 65 is actually A. So we already know that this binary is representing the letter A. Now again, if you're going to do all these steps, it's too long. There's a short way you can do this as well. What you do is directly write all the place value below the number. Okay, I'm going to just write it above here. Or let's write it here below. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64 kilo. It's all a double going. See, 1, 2, 4. Double of 2 is 4. Double of 4 is 8. It keeps on doubling. Whenever 0 is there, you just cut the place value. 0 is there here, I'm going to cut it. 0 is there here, I'm going to cut it. Cut it. Cut it. And just write the sum of the remaining. So if you write the sum of the remaining, 64 plus 16 is 70, 80, 82. Same thing you can do here as well. Just write 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Wherever it's 0, cut the place value. And write the sum of the remaining. 64, 65, 66, 67. So it's fast. Okay. So first step you're supposed to do is you're supposed to convert all these binary values to decimal. Is that clear? Step 1. If you want, you can follow this long method, which is the actual method. Or if you're lazy like me, you can just write like this and figure out the value. But got the idea of first step? Okay, so first step is find the decimal. Now, if you notice the ASCII values, it's always in a perfect order. So if A is 65, B is 66, C is 67, it's in order. So using that, we can figure out if A is 65, that means 67 means it's 66, 67 plus 2. 65 to go to 67, add 2, no? So if A is 65, B is 66, and 67 is going to be C. Similarly, if you go and find what is the value of 82, basically 65 plus how much? 82 is 65 plus 65, 70, 75 is 10, 85 is 20, 20 minus 3 is 17, plus 17, no? So you keep on adding for 17. So if A, then B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. Okay, if you add 1, 1 and go, you can see after 17, the next letter you have is R. Okay, so this is the first step. Second step is So from this, you can figure out the hidden word here is ka. Anyways, is that clear of your? Can show this short method in the part two paper. Yeah, you can show, no issues. As long as you can prove that you didn't copy and you did the paper question alone, you'll get good to go. So here the answer is ka. Okay, now let's figure out the marks. In terms of marks, if I'm going to give 3, here 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I can give 1 mark each. So basically, put 1 mark here, 1 mark here, 1 mark here, 1 mark here. For bus topology, 1 mark. I mean, ring both are correct. Bus is more suitable. For star or tree, again 1 mark. For finding this value, 1 mark, this value, 1 mark, this value, 1 mark, car, 1 mark. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Send me the chat your marks out of 10. And those who had doubt, drop your doubts in the chat. How do you get the letters? I told you, no. A is 65. So using that, you figure out the remaining letters. It's all in a sequential order. If A is 65, B is 66, C is 67. It's a sequential order. So from that sequential order, I figure out if it's 82, 65 plus 17 is only giving you 82. So one by one, I added and so. I added 17 and so. What is it? After 17, what's the next letter we have? Is that clear, Saifullah? I mean, Saifullah, no. Ah, yes, which I was going to message, I forgot. By the way, you have given me this dance as well. You know which one? Do they always give that kind of hint? Either they might give you that A is 65 or else they might give you A is 1501. Then lowercase letters, same thing. Lowercase letter, here A is 65. In lowercase letter, A is 97. The question will be giving you a hint most probably. Can you explain short method again? In short method, what I did is, if you have a binary number like this, for example, something like 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Below every digit, write the place value. That is 1, 2, 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, the place values. Normally, the place values will get double. Like double of 2 is 4, double of 4 is 8, double of 8 is 16, double of 16 is 32, double of 32 is 64. So first step, write all the place value. Is that step clear, Zoha? Perfect. I'll come for that. And then wherever 0 is there, you cut the place value. So I'm going to cut the place value here because that's 0, here, here, here. After I cut the place value, I'm going to write the sum of the remaining. What are the remaining numbers? 64, 4, 1. Sum of remaining is 64 plus 4 is 68. 68 plus 1 is 69. Is that clear? So, perfect. Okay. For the people who are wondering how I got 82, I know A is 65. And I know the remaining letters are there in the sequential order. What I mean by sequential order is, if A is 65, B is going to be 66, C is 67, and D is 68. It's a sequential order. Now I want to figure out, let's say, what is the value for 69? So now I'm going to be like, okay, if A is 65, then to get 69, I have to add how much? I have to add how much? Not 3, I have to add 4 because 65 plus 3 is 68. 65 plus 4 is only 69. Is that part clear? Figuring out that. First, you figure out the. Yeah. So first of all, you figure out to get 69, how much you are add. So 65 plus 4 is 69. Now what you do is you have the number 4 in your hand. Okay. So you're going to go, okay, if you add one more, it's 6. If you add one more, it's B. No, because A is 65. A is 65. Okay, so if you add one more, it's B. Two more, C, D, E. So now I know if I add four more, I end up with the letter E. Make sense? Basically, I'm in A. So I'll be like, I'll add four more. So B, C, D, E. Got it? How I got E here? The same way, only I did that other step as well. Here, what happened was A was 65. Then I have the number is 82. To get 82, I had to add how much? 17. So until I reach 17, I was finding the next letter. So B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. So at R only, I'm coming to plus 17. Are these values constants? Like is A always equal to 65 and so on? Why did I mention this thing called ANSI? How did ANSI, why did I write this ANSI? How did this ANSI come to topic? I literally mentioned that, man. There was an American organization which even gave values because literally letters don't have values. So this organization gave values for every letter. In terms of ASCII, these values are not applicable for other coding system. In EBCDIC and all, the value is different. For ASCII, the value is this. Here you go, Zina. That's fine, okay. Yeah, Rushta, I'll drop a WhatsApp regarding that. Yeah, you can customize your size. There's no issues. Zero. Okay, next question. If you have any questions, drop in chat. I checked all the messages. If I missed anything, let me know. What chapter are you doing in Vellore, the physics class for grade 11? Physical class grade 11, we are currently finishing the first lesson this week. So joining this week is a very bad week. In Kolana also this week, we are finishing the grade 11 first lesson. So next week, we'll be starting the second lesson in physical classes. Online class means we are in the third lesson in grade 11 currently. Okay, this is a spreadsheet question. I'll give you around 10 minutes. Do the question. Put your hands down. So what do you call once you're done, raise your hand in Zoom. Let me on the timer as well. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I didn't send it. No. I'll send Shad. I'll send. I remember all the answers for this paper. Yeah, what do you call Ryan? Your paper, I'm searching basically. I took a PDF of a paper and kept. I don't know where the hell did I keep that paper. Check. Simple A in ASCII. Simple A in ASCII is 97. Don't worry, they'll be giving you a hint in a question paper. Can you zoom, please? Okay, I'll keep the questions next to each other, and that will be more clear. Next to each other, there is no space. I have to keep it below each other. I think I can zoom out this a bit. Yeah, to look for a second. Give me a moment. Yeah, I can zoom and see my new devices. Let me send a picture of this in a group as well as in the chat. Canva is also free, Zura. I mean, if you know how to, what do you call, use Photoshop, then there's another application called Photo P. That's also possible. No, Rushta, come from next lesson. I mean, don't come this week, come next week because this week we are finishing the first lesson. Can't see the top part of the question. Why can't you see the top part? Akif, now can you see? I'm gonna send check WhatsApp. I didn't do this question yet, Akif, so I don't know. The question I'm screen sharing on now, I did not do this question earlier, so I'm not exactly sure. By the way, those who are not there in the paper class group, you can click on the link I'm sending in the chat and join, please. Once you're done with the question, raise a hand in Zoom. Okay, your time is up. Let's check your answer. Wait, none of you have completed the question yet. Those who done with the question, raise your hands up. Only four. Is there any of you who is still doing and want a few more minutes to complete? Okay, 1 minute. 5 minutes? Isn't that too much? 5 minutes? Is the 5 minutes? What the hell? 3 minutes. It's hard. I'll give you 3 minutes. Five is too much because you can't spend. Technically, you have to spend only 10. I mean, you can spend more than 10 minutes in this question in a real exam, but my advice is you have to be trained to complete within 10 minutes. So I give you 3 more minutes. Ah, nah, 10 may 3. Okay, timer is on for 3 minutes. By mistake, I gave 30 instead of 3 only. Okay, you have 3 minutes, quicker. How many A's? You all know I have a very bad habit of checking WhatsApp messages. Still, I have not finished checking my whole WhatsApp. I still have like 500 messages unread, unopened. So none of the students I have still completed. But so far, based on the apps, see, based on the chats I have opened, around 90 A's are there. I think it will cross 100, inshallah. So far 90, but that's huge. For me, it's not enough. I want more. Karime, what if Fadra? I didn't get you. Yeah, they are sad that I have not replied the message. Should reply quickly. 100 out of how many students? I had around was around, if I'm not wrong, the overall 25 had around 200 students. But I expect only 80 to 100 days because, looking at a batch, I can tell how many, like based on the performance, I can tell how many days. Yeah, Hannah, 90 days this time, but that's not enough. Yeah, I should check, I'll tell you one thing. What was last year's count? Last year was 110. 2024 oral batch, it was 110. I think if I clear my WhatsApp, it's going to jump 110. The thing is, because I can show you in my school, only 5 students got 9S. Actually, out of the students who came to our class, around 15 students, I think, got 9S. Like my class who have come, they got 9A. But if I'm going to show you how many unopened chats, I don't know if it's clear even. Right off the blur. If you all can see here, there is like 600, see 600, 529 unopened chats. So out of these 529, I'm pretty sure around 70 chats are from At least 70 chats, minimum 70, 50, minimum 70 to 100 chats should be from the whole 25, which are 100. I should be more punctual in replying messages. Anyways, coming back to the topic. I'll tell you one thing, which majority of your, what do you call, yeah, Hannah, I had this one, okay? I'll just tell you one thing before I start this question. Some of y'all don't know you should be like Python C6 everything. I used to be better than that people, man. I used to already check method this like this, like this. I am bloody busy now. I'll check. Don't worry. But I'll just tell you one thing. That is, you all don't realize sometimes the value of things until the last moment. Because I'm just giving you an early disclaimer now itself because you all are in the last 6 months of O-levels. And we will be doing more hard things in the upcoming few days. Correct, Shada. Thing is, currently, you all just have two classes. One is the theory class, and one is the paper class. Okay. And I'll check, Kyla. If I'm going to be completely honest with you all, in the theory class, there is around, let's say, um, let's take, well, let's say grade 11, well, has around 57. And let's say Colonna has around how much? So 57, but it's constantly coming around 52, 55. Yeah, let's say 57. And Colonna has around how much? Around 55. That's also fluctuative count, 50, between 50 to 55. I'll just write that as 55. Let's see how much online has. June week 3 is 86. The last class is 86 as attendance. So is including recording all the stuff. So that's technically 57 plus 56. 57 plus 55 it was plus 86, right? That's 198. Average is around 200. 198, so average is around 200. Okay, like some other who don't pay and they get the recording, all those stuff. So in general, if I take average, they around 200, 192. But you see the attendance for this paper class. How many are there? Including me, how many are there basically? Now, this 86 is one of the, no, actually 85 students because in that I'm also there as a person. No? And I think its attendance is without me, 86. But anyways, leaving that thing aside. In the paper class, how many can see the attendance? 60. So that means is at least one third have at least one third come for the paper class. So you all have a stupid idea. So let's say, for example, out of this 60, there's definitely going to be a set of people who have issues in watching, what do you call, who has issues in joining live. There's definitely people who have issues watching live. So what would those people do? They're going to watch the recording. Let's just see the statistics of the recordings. Huh? I'll just go to YouTube and I'll show you what do you call the statistics of. Let's take the last recording. So if I take the last week's paper class, that is day 7. In terms of people who has actually, what do you call, it's talking about First Friday is 19 hours. Watch time. You can see how people watch top content, traffic, audience by age, audience retention. If you notice here, in terms of people who have watched the full video, like at least password and see, you can see it's, I think this is the chart that shows the amount of like how long you have watched. Okay. So if I'm not wrong, yeah, this is how it shows how much I watched. So total, how many people have watched this video? It was showing 40 views. Okay, let's say all 40 even saw the recording video. First, no, tactically, no, 40 has not even seen the full recording. Huh? Let's say 40 has seen. It's gonna come only to 100. I mean, I didn't post the recording on time. That's my mistake. But let's say if I take an old recording, let's say the grade 11 week one, let's say day 3, those days that recording I put on time now. So you can see that has a view of 84. And all 84 has not watched the full video. All 84, some other who just randomly clicks and watch half of the video, few seconds. So even if the I tell you one thing with marks, theory or paper. I'm getting stuck. How about now? Like testing one, two, three. How about now? Now, okay. Okay. So what I was saying was, what you call when you compare theory and paper class, I was like around 60 people are there in the current class. Okay. Let's say around 40 last week's recording, but the first few recording is around 80 people. Out of the 80, I'm pretty sure majority have not watched the full recording. But let's say they watched up to certain part it's as well. It's only 120, right? So that means not even half of the class has watched all the recordings, right? Let's leave this aside, but coming back to the main point, what do you think is more important, the theory class or paper class to get marks? Not to understand content. I'm saying if you want to get marks in your exam, what do you think is more important, theory class, paper class? Both is a different answer. I'll come to that in a while. But technically, paper class is where you'll be boosted to get your marks because in paper class, at least if you don't know the theory, you can come and question me, and I will teach you the theory behind that, and I'll make you understand. Because you all know I'm not a person who comes in. I'm actually surprised how people do paper class. They cover whole paper in one day. Like I'm like wondering how do they even do that? Because technically, for me to teach a 10 marks question, I need at least half an hour to 40 minutes. If I'm going to teach everything properly, at least half an hour I need for a 10 marks question. So, what do you call coming back to the point? If you'll ask any theoretical questions behind it, I always make sure I explain. So, practically speaking, yes, theory class is important because without knowing the knowledge, if you go and do the exam, then you're basically doing an exam, you're doing a paper without common sense. Because if you notice here, I'm giving you a time to do the question. So it said you should know at least something. Okay, to know at least something, that's where theory class happens. But in theory class, you will just get the knowledge only. You will just get the knowledge, but the way the knowledge is applied is going to be different. The way knowledge is applied in questions is very different. Now, for example, one easy thing is that topology. In theory, you all learn that there are these topology. These topology looks like these is clear. You all learned about the topology. But in theory, did you all learn how to decide that here star and tree is not suitable? Like directly was it told? Indirectly, you had to process it. But directly in the theory, did you all learn how to understand that here you can't use bus, you can't use star and tree. So this is what you get to call as questions. So there is like a formula. How it works is from the theory you get knowledge. By in the theory class you get knowledge. From the theory class you get the knowledge. Using this knowledge, without knowledge, if you are trying to do questions, like even see in this class, okay, when I give questions to do, maximum I see only 20 hands up. Out of 60 people, I don't know what the hell the 40 people are doing. The reason I'm asking you to raise your hands up once you're done with the questions for me to get a small analytics to know How many done, how many not done. Okay. So theory class will give you the knowledge, and paper class will make you understand how this knowledge can be used. Okay, using the paper class, what happens is using the paper class, you understand how to use the knowledge you have. Okay, how to use the knowledge. And there's a name for that. Basically, once I teach you how to use the knowledge, now for example, when I was teaching this question, I told you the reason why you can't use star topology and tree topology is because in star topology and tree topology, you have to use a switcher hub. In the given answers, they are not given switcher hub. Okay, I gave you explanation that I made you understand why you can't do. So that understanding you get is there, right? There's a name for that. How do you call that? It's a one word. After you learn a knowledge, and when you apply that knowledge in a situation, let's say you apply the knowledge, after you apply the knowledge in a situation, there's understanding at the end you get. What do you call that as? There's a name for it. I'll give you a hint. It's one of your school's names. Called wisdom. Okay, it's called wisdom. So wisdom is basically the understanding you get from a knowledge which you have learned. So keep in your mind, no matter how much theory you all have learned, if you all don't practice questions, you're not going to end up getting marks. I will tell you again and again what I was regretting is just like you all had 200 students here, in the previous batch also there was average around 200 students, plus minus few students. Okay. But the same mistake there also. So basically now once I'm now currently I'm having theory class and paper class, but around September, October, I will be starting something called as recap class. I actually want to do one more class. Currently, I want to do something called worksheet discussion. I want to discuss worksheet with you all daily, weekly. I'm just figuring out a time for that. So that'll come to that soon. But leaving that thing aside, I'll be starting something called recap class as well around September, October. And I will recap certain important lessons. Okay. And we'll be doing certain papers and questions. And we're going to do load amount of work. So recap class will happen like 3 days a week. And we will do like a load amount of work. Every I have been doing. For over 24, I did lot of threatening for them and somehow made them come, and 100 plus used to come for the over 24. 110, 120, it was fluctuated. But for the over 25, I could not do much threatening. I did in the first few weeks, but still only around 80 used to come average day out of 200 plus. Huh? And just like I predicted, how many A's I got? Averagely, now currently it's 90, but this might go up to around 100 odd, but still that average amount, even though there was 200 students, see only 90, 80 was able to get it. Why? Because Arab party, they think that they know everything. They think paper class, there's another thing people say, when things are given for free, you all don't know the value of it. Paper class is completely free. They're like, nah, it's just a free class. Why should I go there? I'm just going for theory class. That's more than enough. I'll again tell you, not even one person can raise their hands up and tell me that just because this is a free class, I don't give equal importance. If you all can remember last week, the paper class, do you know what time the last week's paper class finished? Like for me to end the Zoom meeting. What time do you think I ended the Zoom meeting? I started Zoom meeting at 5 o'clock. What time do you think I ended the Zoom meeting? No, no, no. Shahza, what time did I end the meeting last week? If I'm not wrong, I ended the meeting, last week meeting, huh? 11:30 p.m. Last week, I ended the Zoom meeting. If you had joined the class between 5 to 11, if you joined the class between 7:30 to 11, even though I finished the content, by 7 o'clock, paper is over. So from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., what was I, or 11:30, what was I doing? I was discussing doubts. Okay, there was two. I was discussing Shahza's doubts was there, Rushta's doubt was there. Like there was few doubts. I was discussing doubts. I'm again telling you, even you all can bring you all can bring a ton of questions and come one by one. I'll discuss. There is no issue. So there, no one can come and tell just because it's a free class, I'm doing a differentiation for you all. To be honest, I even don't know how many of you are coming for my paid class, not coming for my paid. I don't know that. Huh? I don't want to know that people. I don't, one thing is I don't know. Second, I don't want to know. So whether you're my paid students or a free student, there is no difference you're going to get. You come and ask a question, how many questions you have until your questions are over. I mean, until I have the energy, obviously. If I'm dead, then I can go more than that. But like I'm telling you all one thing, even Ziran was there. Okay, you all can ask tons of questions. The more and more and more questions you practice, the more and more marks you can achieve in your exam. This is not only for ICT, is applicable for all the lessons. Okay, so I'm just telling you all. That class went till 11:30. If you join the meeting, you will know. The point is that try to get use of all the opportunities you get in life. Because once you lose it, you can't regret. It's too late to regret. Like you just go and talk to the people who got B's and C's for the O levels. They would have been like, if I put little more effort, I could have gotten a little more effort. I predicted this earlier. So you can't expect if there's two people, if one fellow is putting so much effort and when you're putting zero amount of effort, you can't expect the same result as that person unless you already have the knowledge. It's a different story. It's unfair. Now. The world is going to be equal to that. What's your order results? My one was a fair result. I'll not tell mine was a great result, but that was a result I expected. I got 5A, 1B, 3C. But I did all levels during Corona. So basically, that time we were not even bothered about studying, right? So I did not. So my whole grade 11 is without schooling. My whole exam paper is mainly from grade 10 knowledge, and grade 11 we didn't have school. So that was a first. So we are the first Corona batch. So therefore, what do you call when I did my exams? I was like full fun. I mean, full fun as in like we were not bothered to study, right? But I'm pretty sure if I had gone for school, then maybe I would have got a better results. But I don't care. Put a reminder of mother. Is it Rashida? I'm Rushta. Yes, Suraya, with your sister actually. Okay, coming back to the content. So the point which I want to tell you all is don't take things for granted. So just because it's a free class, that doesn't mean you're not going to get a value. Because like I told you, in the class, you can ask maximum number of questions you have relevant and a last. Okay, let's discuss the answer. How come you do all in Corona and got married and have kids? That's the magic. That is where reality clashes with fantasy though. Is it true that 2025 oral paper was a bit difficult? I don't know. For me, everything is easy. Grade 10 is on Thursdays, grade 11 is on Tuesdays. You don't have to join both. You can join the grade 11 from 5 to 7, Tuesdays. No, I'm an old person, man. A while ago, a different version of me was speaking. Is it so? Grade 11 students have decided to use technology for their mathematics subject. Interesting. For this purpose, they have created the following electronic spreadsheet for a graph lesson. Okay, fine. It says that you can't keep saying the line. No, it's the truth. You can't process the lie. What do I say? Yeah, Rohman. Just join the group. You'll be getting the this one there. Recordings and links and all those stuff. What is it, Mali? So the question is saying that they have created here a graph. I mean, they want to draw a graph. To draw the graph, they have made basically a sample spreadsheet. There's nothing big they have mentioned in this paragraph to process. So just ignore it. And then they have given you a small spreadsheet. And they have given you the values of x squared, y, number of x values. Okay, fine. A small spreadsheet is given here. Then label 1 to 11 in the following below are some formatting options available in spreadsheet software. Okay, the word called formatting means editing or else modifying. Okay. When speaking, you told the truth about you. Not only that, even before that and after that also, whatever I said is the truth. It's just that y'all can't, y'all don't have enough of brain cells to process the truth. It's overwhelming for your brains. You know, basically your brains will lag to process that heat. Write down the label number of the formatting options that would have been used to format the following cells. Okay, the word formatting means like editing or else modifying. Okay, for those who are wondering what do you mean by formatting, the word formatting means like editing or modifying. It's not lies, it's truth, man. Yeah, definitely. So let's go to A6 cell and B3 cell. A column A, row number 6. This is the A6 cell. And then B3, that is label B number 3. Yes. Okay. In B3 cell, seriously, you guys with the corona batch? Yeah. Yeah, the people who first of all used Zoom and all the stuff, man. During corona, but you're in grade 4, you're not wrong. 5. Not bad. I don't know, Suraya. Like I told earlier, I don't know who and who are coming, who are not coming. Grade 5. We are forced to live in the box of light. Understandable. But still, you all have not explored ICT as how much we used to do, man. I'm again telling you all. Oh, understandable, Suraya. Okay. If you look at the B3 cell, you can see multiple cells are merged together. So merging multiple cells, we call it cell merge. To merge it together, you need the cell merge tool, which is this here, merge and center. That is a tool. It is labeled using label number 11. So for B3, you need the tool 11, which is called cell merge. What is it? Kind of, Ahmed. Why, Rushta? Exactly, Zul. And then, if you look at the label number 6, in label number 6, is it bold? It's a bit bold as well. But apart from that, okay, I'll tell you what, this is called text wrap. I'll show you what do you mean by text wrap using spreadsheet directly. Tadam, tadam, tadam. So now, in a spreadsheet software, if I keep on writing something, what better? Now you can see when I keep on writing, it's going towards the right hand side, right? You can see when I keep on writing a long sentence, it keeps on writing, going to the right hand side. But let's say if I go and type something here, in the next cell, now whatever I have written is actually hidden. Okay, you can see whatever I wrote here. I wrote a long sentence, but it's hidden. It's hidden. Okay, it's hidden. So without making it hide, if I wanted to come down and show properly, there's a tool called text wrap which I can use. So there's three types of text wrap: overflow, wrap, and clip. So I'm going to click on text wrap. So if I go and click on text wrap, so now you can see whatever is extending, whatever is extending or whatever is hidden is now visible here. So this is what you call as text wrap. Without hiding, it will show it properly, the hidden content. Is that clear of your understood what is text wrap? For A6L, they have used text wrap, which is tool, probably tool number 10. Perfect. Again, I'll give you the marks at last because I'm not sure how many marks this whole question. It's a 10 marks question, but in terms of how should I break the marks, I'm not sure. So I'll let you all know the marks at last. Just mark it correct if you got it correct. If you got it wrong, just red pen, write the correct answer. Didn't they also use two? Um, in terms of center, no? Normally if you put okay, they have used two as well. Correct. Because it's center. Is it center? Let's see number of x values. It is. Yeah, it is to the center. So in that case, even two is used. I'll break the marks later, okay? Yeah, by 3 months. Anna. What about six? Six is not. Wait. It is not vertically center. It's only horizontally center. Two is vertical center and six is horizontal center. So I'll put only six. My bad. You can't see the vertical center yet. So I'll put horizontal center only. What's the difference between one and two? Basically, one, two, and three, they are called vertical center. Vertical center means one, two, and three is like this. Now, if I make the cell a bit longer, you can say everything is left side down corner. So vertical center is where you can make it come to the middle or come to the top. So that's called vertical center. So the tool 1, 2, 3 is talking about vertically center. Okay, say up, middle, down. Got it? That's cell merge. Shabdul Majid. Next, the steps below shows how data was entered into the spreadsheet. Write the correct cell address for each cells using the format cell dash cell address in your answer sheet. The below shows how data was entered into the spreadsheet. Write the correct cell address for each cells. Okay, fine. The value -3 was entered into cell 1. The value -3 was entered to cell 1. Where is cell 1? Make it. Okay, -3 was entered to cell 1 and -2 into cell 2. -2 is here. The steps below shows how data was entered. Write the correct cell address for each cell using the format cell dash cell address. Okay, cell X slash cell address. Fine, makes sense. So basically, they're saying cell 1 and cell 2. No. So they're asking what is the cell address of cell 1 and what is the cell address for cell 2. So basically, they have given two values. One is -3, other one is -2. So they're asking -3 and -2. They have written inside which cell address. So -3 is here, -2 is here. We have to figure out what is the cell address. -3 is in the column B, row number 1. So column B, row number 1. Therefore, cell 1 is representing B1 cell. Then they are saying -2 is entered into cell 2. So that means cell 2 is representing -2 is what? Column C, row number 1. That's C1. So keep in mind, to form the cell address, you need two datas. You need to know in which column that respective cell is there. And apart from knowing which column the cell is there, you know which row the cell is there. So once you know which column and which row, so you can see number 2 is there in the column C, row number 1. Okay. So if you know the column and row, you can figure out the cell address. Don't they? Okay, answer that question. I think it's used for B3 as well now. B3. What do you mean it's used for B3 as well? The cell merge. Sorry, value center line. Yeah, so what do you call no Zaina? Because they have mentioned merge and center. So merge and center is one tool. It will merge and then put the content to the center. So only that is used. Got it? Next. Then both the cells were selected and the mouse pointer was moved to the bottom right corner. So both these cells were selected And bottom mouse was moved to the bottom right corner until it changed to a plus sign. Okay. Then both the cells. What is the question asking? Cell address in answer. Write the correct cell address for each cell using the format cell address. Both cells selected and mouse pointer. So are they asking the cell range there? What is the second question asking you? Then both cells selected and the mouse pointer was moved to the bottom right corner until it changed to the and the mouse pointer was moved to the bottom right corner until it changed to a plus sign. So if they're asking the cell range, that means they're going up to here. Okay, if they're asking the cell range of the whole thing selected, okay, I think there's nothing there. Okay, it's just ABCD steps. ABCD is not questions, it's just steps. So here we have cell 1, here we have cell 2, and cell 3 and cell 4 is here, right? So I think there's nothing to do in question B. I'll go next. So in question C, I mean in the point C, they're saying they should have mentioned these point forms or like not ABC forms. Anyways, after that, the mouse pointer was dragged to cell C3. Okay. So basically, in spreadsheet, there is a special tool called the fill handle tool. Okay, let me show that to you. In spreadsheet, you can see if I write here numbers, let's say -3, -2. Okay, I can select both, and you can see here it's showing the plus icon, right? If you can see, if I when I take my mouse, currently my mouse is showing a black color icon, but when I take the mouse over that blue color circle, it's showing a plus icon. So I can click and I can drag it. Okay. So that tool which you have is which is in my mind is a blue color circle. That tool is called the fill handle tool. So if I drag it, it'll automatically fill the values. It'll see the progression. Okay, it'll see okay, there's a progression here. It'll get the automatic values. See, -1, -0 kilo. It'll automatically figure out the how the progression is. I'll get the values. Like even I can do it in sequential levels like this as well. So if I have 1, 2, 3 here, if I drag, it will generate the remaining ones. So you can do this using something called as a fill handle tool. This blue color circle you have here. So they are saying the mouse pointer was dragged until cell 3. So what has happened is they have selected these two cells, okay, and they have dragged it like that. They have selected this fill handle tool. After they selected the two cells, you can see the fill handle tool here now. So they clicked on the fill handle tool and dragged it up to here. So they have dragged it up to this cell, which is H1 cell. So that means cell 3 is representing H1 cell. Cell -3, cell B1. Is it like this? Cell -3 and cell B1. You mean for the questions? Which one are you referring to? Sorry, I didn't get your idea. No, no. For A, it has to be cell 1 is B1, cell 2 is C1. So all are steps, no? Yeah, it's steps. Yes. Finally, the value 3 was added to the cell 4. Where is 3? Ah, no, 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 no. They have not dragged until H1 cell. They have not dragged until H1 cell. If you read the next question, you can see they have dragged mouse pointer has moved to the bottom corner until it changed to a plus sign, right? After the mouse pointer is dragged until cell 3, finally the value 3 was added to the cell 4. So that means after they have dragged only up to here, after they are done dragging up to here, or oh no, no. I think they have mentioned about adding the value 3 is done here. These buggers shouldn't have used the same number. Apart from here, is there 3 anywhere else? Apart from these two, is 3 mentioned anywhere else or here as well? The person who made this question is a stupid person. But using common sense, if I'm asking what is the most suitable thing they're referring to, they're referring 3 as this 3. Yeah? So therefore, Cell 3 is correct. Finally, value 3 was added to cell 4. So this cell 4 is basically okay. What is the cell address for this 3 which you can see here? No, they do translation, so that time it get messed up. What is the cell address for that cell? Correct. The cell address is B3. So that's going to be cell C4 is so cell 4 is represented in the B3 cell. For those who are confused how to figure out cell address in cell merge, the cell address will be the starting cell's address. Huh? So here column B, row number 3, no? So take the starting cell's address when you have cell merge. So yeah, these are the answers. In this question, they are saying there are some labels they have used, cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, cell 4. It is asking what are the answers for cell 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyways, anyone have any other questions there? B3 to H3 is wrong. Yeah, because the question is saying write the correct cell address for each cell X. So cell X means cell and the number front of it. So the question is asking you just the correct cell address. So you're supposed to write the correct cell address only. So writing the B3 to H3 is wrong. Because cell 4 is talking about they are saying sorry, cell 3 is saying that we went and stopped there. So where did we stop? We stopped at H1 cell. Is that clear? Or did you understand? Which part do you want, doctor? The answer for B. Basically, ABCD is not four different questions. For your information, ABCD is not four different questions. They are saying basically ABCD is what do you call the step? It should be step one. Again, I'm saying the way the question is mentioned is wrong. The question should have mentioned here. Okay, the question should have been phrased in such that the steps below shows how data was entered to spreadsheet. Write the correct cell address for each label. The word label has to come here. For each label, select use the format label dash cell address in your answer. They should have used the word called label there. And second thing is, without mentioning A, B, C, D here, they should have mentioned in step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. So in the question, what they're referring to is they want you to figure out what is the cell represented by cell 1, what is the cell represented by cell 2, what is the cell represented by cell 3, and what is the cell represented by cell 4. It is not a ABCD question. It's cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, cell 4. That kind of a question. Make sense? How do you see your answers? Send me a picture of the answers. Stupid. The last part in cell merge till H3, the cell range is there, right? No, 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 no. They're saying after that, the mouse pointer was dragged to cell 3. So that means you can see here, I click on this, I click on these two. I click on this, I click on the what do you call fill handle tool. I drag until a specific cell. So if I'm going to drag until here, I'm dragging until G5. If I'm dragging until here, I'm dragging till F5. Here E5. So if I drag until here, I'll be like, I clicked on the fill handle tool and I dragged until G5. Makes sense. Drag until G5. So here you drag to the cell C3. So C3 is H1 cell. I'm dragging until this cell. I selected these two. I click on the fill handle tool and drag it until here. Okay, perfect. Next question. By the way, those who have doubts, drop in the chat. After completing the above steps mentioned in Roman number 2, all the remaining values should be calculated using appropriate formula. Okay. Write the formula used to calculate x squared values in cell B2. Okay, in the brackets, they give a small disclaimer as well. So let's go to B2 cell. So B2 cell is this. So in B2 cell, you want to get the value of x squared. Okay, in B2 cell, you want to get the value of x squared. Now, you can see the value of x is 3 and x squared, sorry, value of x is minus 3, x squared is 9. Okay, so if I'm going to represent that in a formula for this cell, if I'm going to write a formula, I can write the formula as equals. There are two ways you can write the answer. One thing you can write is equals B1 into B1. This is correct. Another way you can write the answer is you can also mention the answer as equals B1 exponential 2. Both are correct. Is that clear, all of you? You have doubt, drop in the chat, because they are saying x squared. the multiplication of x. Okay, so x into x. If you have doubt, drop in the chat. Write the function to be entered in cell B6 to find the number of x values used for the graph. Okay, in B6 cell, B6 is column B, row number 6. Here, we want to figure out how many x values are there. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We want to figure out how many x values were there. Okay. In spreadsheet, in terms of functions, these are the functions you all learned. Sum, count, count A, and average, min, max. Actually, new syllabus, they've included a new function called if as well. I don't think you all got the new syllabus textbook, so I don't think for your oral examination they'll give you if. Apart from if in the new syllabus, there's one more as well. If and there's one if and round, I guess. I guess these two functions is there in the new syllabus, but because you all did not use the new syllabus grade 10 textbook, I don't think they'll ask you all questions on that. So I'll ignore these two. So these are the what you called count A, and yeah, these are the questions. These are the functions you all have in your syllabus. It has to change someday. I'll explain that in a given moment. Okay. Now tell me first of all, out of these functions, which function do you think is suitable to use for the Roman question B? You want to count how many times, how many x values were mentioned here. So to find how many x values are there here, what do you think the function, what do you think how to use the function? Correct. I have to use a count function. Now comes the next question. What is the difference between count and count A? If you take count function, using count function, you can count. So basically, functions are used for a cell range, no? So for example, if I use count function like equals count, and let's say B1 to H1, B1 to H1, okay? Or if I use count A, you can, functions are mostly applied for a cell range. So what the count function will do is count function will go for the cell range and it will see how many cells contain values. Okay, how many cells contain values. If you're wondering what do you mean by this word called value, a value means basically a measurable data. If a data can be measured, we call this value. So there's another name for measurable data. We normally call this what you call the quantitative value. A quantitative data, and there's something called quantitative data and qualitative data. Okay, in simple terms, it will go and check in that cell range how many data can be measured, how many has values. But if you take count A, it will go and see how many cells are not empty. It will go and check how many cells are not empty. So for example, in a spreadsheet, if I have something like this, 1, 2, A, empty, no, 0, till I have multiple values. Okay. If I use count function, count will go and see the number of cells that has values, measurable data. So tell me, if I choose this cell range, in this cell range, how many data are measurable? Like you can has a value. It's a numeric value. In this cell range, how many values are numeric? See, she has credited to my answers now. Surya, I'll come to that. Wait, Rabia. Correct. You have 1, 2, 3. So count function, it will give you the, I'll show you the answer in a while, wait. Count function, it will give the answer as 3 because there are only 3 data that are measurable. Count A, it will go for the cell range and see how many cells are not empty. So tell me, if I apply the count A function for the cell range, what do you think the answer is going to be? Count A will go and see how many cells are not empty in the cell range. So how many cells are not empty? Not empty. Not empty. Don't you know the meaning of the word called not? How many cells are not empty? One, two, three, four, five. Five cells are not empty. Okay. So let me apply both and show you. Okay. So I'll apply here the count function. Answer is 3. I'll apply count A equals count A. And you can see count gave me 3, count A gave me 5. Understood the difference of count and count A, all of you? The one what I need, sorry, because nicely see, in where you have mentioned the word called cell 2, in pencil you have mentioned C1, right? Sorry. And see where you have mentioned cell 2, sorry, what do you call the cell 3, she has mentioned H1 in pencil. Where you mentioned cell 4, answer is B3. So this is how you have to mention the answer. We'll count show currency also. Is currency a measurable value? Like, can you measure currency? Is it a quantitative data? What do you think? Yes or no? Yes. So it will show. It will show. I can show you proof if you want. For example, if I go and write here 550 rupees, format currency. Now it's in pennies. Let me just change to dollars or something, or rupees. Format number, Sri Lankan rupees. Okay, I have rupees 550. So if I mention here 59%, and if I mention, let's say here 87 dollars, let's say, format number currency. Let's say I use a different currency like dollars. Or dirhams, dollars, United States dollars. So now if I use the count function here, it will count the price and percentage both. Because percentage is also a measurable value, price is also a measurable value. Got it, Sabri? They're not questions, they're steps. It's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You can ask in the class, Hajra, at the end of the class. Why is count A used for? Who's the mic clear now? I give you the idea now after I showed you. And how did she give the answer? You have mentioned, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. So looking at your 1, 2, 3, 4, she has given the answer. Yeah. Like she has just, when teachers are marking, you all are thinking that the teachers are marking only your paper. But for your information, when teachers are marking, they're not marking one paper, they're marking hundreds of papers. So they're not going to see your minute details. She will just see the final answer. She'll not see what you wrote here. She'll assume that you wrote the first part correctly. Makes sense? So she just saw the right side and saw, have you written B1, C1, H1, B3? So if B1 was there, she marked it correct. If C1 was there, she marked it correct. If it's not there, she gives C1 as the answer. Is that clear, Surya? So what about the final answer? So here the final answer is going to be, right, the function to be entered in B6 to find the number of x values. So number of x values, right? How many numbers are there for x? So for that you use a count function. So if I can, if you want, you can write the function name only count, you'll get marks. But I would suggest you write the whole formula. The whole formula goes like this. The whole formula goes as equals count. What is the cell range for x values? B1 to H1. Okay. I didn't get your question, Hassan. Anna, remind me at the end once I'm done with this. Which one, Shazam? Is a different paper class for grade 10? Yeah, Thursdays 5 to 6:30. From 5 to 6:30. That's not compulsory for you all. If you all are free, you can join. If you're available at that time. Okay. Some of you were asking me, can't we use dollar symbol for this question? I'll answer that. Okay. Wait, before I go for that question, all of you clear the answer for the question B? In question B, the most suitable answer is, if you just mention only count, also you're correct because the question is asking just the function only. So therefore, only if you mention the word called count, also you're correct. But I will clear with this part, all of you. Oh, that paper. I mean, that question, Charlotte, that's an expert question. Yes, sir. Okay, come back to the context. So some of you are asking, can't we use what do you call oh, this is this paper. This is called the diagnostic test paper. Ah, okay, I got the PDF. I asked my staff to send it to me. I will share the paper in the group. Okay, it's the provincial. Basically, it's a provincial paper. It's called diagnostic test skill, but it's the provincial paper that had for the recently last month. I will send the PDF in the group. Okay, next. So some of you are asking, can't we use dollar symbol? So let me see what is the answer you all had mentioned dollar symbol. One had mentioned the answers. Okay, you were not specific there. Now, in terms of mentioning dollar symbol, there are two places you can mention dollar symbol. You can mention the dollar symbol before B like this. Okay, you can mention the answers that is equals B1 to the power 2 like this. Or you can also mention equals B$1 to the power 2. Or you can also mention $B$1 to the power 2. Okay. Normally, if you're using dollar symbol and writing cell address, we call this as absolute cell reference. So we're not referencing a cell inside a form in a formula. We're not referencing a cell, or else in a formula, if you're using a cell address, we call that cell referencing. And when you're using cell address, in addition, if you mention the dollar symbol, we call that as absolute cell referencing. So cell referencing is using cell address in formula. Absolute cell referencing is in that cell address, dollar symbol is used. Okay. So what absolute cell referencing will do is it will keep the value fixed. Absolute cell reference will act like a bodyguard. Next week, today. You can join, you can send and keep now if you want, but remind me the next week as well. So what absolute cell referencing will do, it will act like a bodyguard. It'll wait front of you. Okay, it'll wait front of you. Like imagine you're a big celebrity, going in a very crowded place. The bodyguard will be in front of you, like move, 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 clearing the space and not allowing anyone to touch you. Same thing absolute cell referencing do. The dollar symbol will like protect whatever is behind it. So if you have dollar symbol here, it's going to protect B. If you have dollar symbol here, it's protecting 1. Here, this dollar symbol is protecting B, and this dollar symbol is protecting 1. Always keep in mind dollar symbol is in front of you. Okay, left side. Now, okay, now the purpose of absolute cell referencing is mainly used to keep values fixed. Okay, the purpose of absolute cell referencing is mainly to keep any values fixed. That means for values not to change. Because normally in spreadsheet, when you're copying a formula from one cell, for example, I will show the formulas to be visible here. Show the formulas. Okay, so let's say I have a formula here mentioning equals A1 into 4. Okay, I wrote a formula here equals A1 into 4. Now when I copy this formula and paste it here, you can see number is same. Here was a 4, here was a 4. But cell address has changed. When I paste here, cell address is changing. When I paste here, cell address is changing. The same cell which I copied from here, okay, I copied it from here. When I paste it here, it has one value, here it has one value, here it has one value. The cell address is changing. Okay. This is how normally spreadsheets are built. Okay. Spreadsheets are built in such way that they change. So for example, there's a pattern of how it changes. The pattern is basically, it checks the movement from between the copying cell and pasting cell. So this is the cell I copied and this is the cell I pasted. To go from the copying cell to the pasting cell, I just go one cell towards the right now. So when I go one cell towards the right, in the copying formula, all the cell address will also go one cell towards the right. So in the formula I copied, I have A1 cell now. From A1 cell, if I go one cell towards the right, this is A1. From A1, if I go one cell towards the right, I'll have B1. Right? That is why the A1 here has become B1. Now, same thing if you apply here, this is the copying cell. If I take this as a pasting cell, to come from the copying cell to the pasting cell, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see to go from this cell to this cell, I have to jump 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cells down. So if I'm going to move from the copying cell to the pasting cell 4 cells, even my cell address is going to go 4 cells down. And from A1 cell, if you go 4 cells down, you get A5. That's why A1 became A5. And similarly, that's how the B5 has come as well. Because for example, to go for the B5 cell, you're going to go 4 cells down and 1 cell towards the right. So after you go 4 cells down, A4 will become A5. From B5, you go 1 cell to the right. Sorry, A4 will become A5. Sorry, my bad. From A1 cell, if you go 4 cells down, it will become A5. And from A5 cell, if you go 1 cell towards the right, A5 will become B5. That's how this B5 came. So technically what happens is, in spreadsheets, when you copy paste formula, it will see from which cell to which cell are you going. It will calculate the movement. So if you jump 2 cells, all your cell address will also jump 2 cells. That's how normally spreadsheet works. Is that clear? First of all, tell me how normally spreadsheet works. Okay, perfect. Now sometimes that change that cell address changing is a problem for us. So if you want to stop that change only, we use dollar symbol. If you use dollar symbol for B, like in front of B, now what happens is when you copy paste formulas, the letter B will not change. If you have the dollar symbol in front of 1, when you copy paste formulas, number 1 will not change. When you have for both, now both these won't change when you copy paste the formula. So copying cell and pasting cell will have the exact same formula. The cell address will not change because there is a protection for both. That's how the dollar symbol acts. Okay. Now comes the next question. If you look at this situation, they are saying this formula should be copied across the range. That means, tell me, when I copy paste the formula, if I know here, the formula I wrote here is what? The formula I wrote here is basically, let's say, equals B1 to the power 2. Now, if I copy paste the formula and let's say I paste here. Okay, let's say I paste here. Now, when I paste here, do I want to take the value of X? Okay, do I want my spreadsheet software to take the value of X as -3 or -1? When I paste it here, do I want it to take the value of, exactly, I want it to be -1. I want it to be -1, right? So for example, let's see, is it getting changed to -1? When you have B1, if you jump from here to here, you're going 1 cell, 2 cells towards the right. You're going 2 cells towards the right. So from B1 cell, technically, this is B1 cell. From B1 cell, if you go 2 cells right, this is 1 cell right, 2 cells right. You're reaching D1. So in the pasting cell, okay, in my pasting cell, the formula I'll be having here. In this cell, the formula I'll be having here is equals D1 to the power 2. Is that formula correct or is it wrong? That's correct. So therefore, is there anything that is getting changed and we have to stop that from getting changed? Is there anything unwantedly getting changed extra? Like in the cell address, is there something that's unwantedly getting changed and we have to stop it? No. So therefore, dollar symbol is not important. You need dollar symbol only if there's something that is getting changed which you want to stop. So if you really badly want to enter dollar symbol, you can use dollar symbol here as well. There's no issues. But if you're using, you can't use it for the column name. You use it for the row number. So if you mention like this, B$1, it's fine. but unwanted. Okay. B11 is correct, but unwanted. There is no purpose. It's like you have a bank account with, so you have what do you call, let's say you have your purse with 0 rupees, giving so much protection to protect that purse. There's no purpose. Why isn't D2 but D1? Why isn't it D2 but D1? In the copying cell, what was the formula? Akhil, in the copying cell, what was the formula? Akhil, the copying cell, what was the formula? B1 to the power 2. So to go from the copying cell to the pasting cell, did you understand that we are jumping 2 cells towards the right? Okay. So from B1 cell, why is it too big? From the B1 cell, if you go 2 cells towards your right, what cell do you have? This is the B1. This is B1 cell. From B1 cell, if you jump 2 cells towards the right, one, two, what cell you're landing to? D1. That is why the pasting cell is D1. Make sense? Hmm. So copying cells, the cell address we have in the copying cell, it'll reflect. So it's like, imagine, for example, the cell is a parent. Imagine the cell is a parent. The cell addresses are the children. So if the parents move 3 cells, the children are also going to move 3 cells. Something like that. Okay. Now let's go for Roman number 4. In Roman number 4, they are saying the worksheet is used to plot the graph of y equals x squared plus 3. Write down the formula to be entered in cell B4. B4 is where? B4 is here. B4 to calculate the corresponding y values. Y is equal to how much? X squared plus 3. Very easy. So they are saying you can get the value of y by taking x squared plus 3. So if I take the B4 cell, okay, tell me respective to B4, in which cell do I have the value of x squared? X squared. Respective to B4, in which cell do I have the value of x squared? Correct. Respective to B4 cell. This is the B4 cell. Respective to B4 cell, that means in that line, the value of x squared is there in the B2 cell. So they are saying y is equal to x squared plus 3. I can see the value of x squared is there in B2 cell. So it's going to be B2 plus 3. Actually, the 3 is also mentioned somewhere. The number 3 is there, the adding value. So x squared plus 3. The adding value is there in the which cell? That plus the 3 is there. The adding value 3. That is there in which cell? Correct. This 3, it's there in the B3 cell. The cell is called B3 cell. Okay. B3. Now, the question said one, if you note the question said one important fact. They're saying the formula we are going to write to y, we are writing a formula to find the value of y, right? That formula we're writing here, we have to copy it here, 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 and here. Okay. And a while ago, I told you when you copy paste formulas, cell address change. So let's say for x squared plus 3, okay, to get x squared plus 3, to get the x squared value, I'm taking the B2 cell. And let's say to get the value of 3, I'm using the B3 cell. Now imagine if I copy the formula from here, and let's say I paste it here, I'm going 1 cell towards my right. Correct. So if I go 1 cell towards my right, okay, if I go 1 cell towards my right, all my cell address will also go 1 cell towards the right. So if all my cell address go 1 cell towards the right, B2 will become what? C2. And B3 will become what? C3. Now, if you look at this spreadsheet properly, it is cell merge. No, when you have merge cell, it will always take the first cell's address. So that means even though it's joining all these cells, if you take C3, it will not get the number 3. Only B3 will have the value of 3. So we don't want this C3 to change. Okay, now when I copy paste the formula, what's happening? B3 is becoming C3. I don't want it to change. B2 becoming C2, no issues. Okay, B2, early it was B2, it became C2, perfect. Because for respect to Y, it's perfect there. So this is changing, is not a problem. But the B3 becoming C3 is a problem for me. Okay, so I don't want it to change. Now tell me, what is exactly changing? Column name or row number or both? What is actually changing when I copy paste the formula? Perfect. You can see B3 became C3. That means the column name has changed. So that means I want the column name not to change. So therefore, I can write the formula like this equals B2 plus dollar $B3. You can mention dollar $B3. You can also mention dollar $B, dollar $3. There is, in this question, there is no issues. But the dollar $3 is not needed because anyways, the row number is not changing. That's not needed. But but this is how your answer is going to be. Is that clear, all of you all? Both are correct. First is more than enough. Just B3 is not suitable because when the cell address becomes C3, D3, E3, no, it's a problem for us. Because cell range will take only one cell's address. Is that clear of you? Okay, so there is two questions. If I'm going to discuss those two questions, I will need at least around 5 to 10 minutes at least. Okay. Minimum 10 minutes, I think. And Isha is at what time? 7:46. I'll give you around 5 minutes. Okay. You can pray Marib and come. I'll also pray Marib and come. After Marib, I'll discuss these two questions. Just give me 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I'll come and discuss these two questions. Sorry for extending the class time. But yeah, in 5 minutes, those who are praying, you can pray and come. After 5 minutes, I'll discuss that question. Okay. Why is it a problem? Anyways, it's 3 now. I'm saying it's unwanted because the 3 is not getting changed. So adding the dollar $3 is unwanted. Demmada prashnayak, but unwanted. That's what I said. Yes, this is a grade 10 level question. I mean, it was given in a grade 11 paper, but this lesson is relevant to grade 10. Okay, it's 7:30 now. At 7:35, I will continue. Those who are praying or can pray and come. Those who are not praying, don't leave. Wait for 5 minutes. I'll quickly pray and come. Why are you saying B3 changed to C3 is a problem? Because when I take a cell range, for example, let's say if I write something like this 6, 5, and let's say 2, and let's say I'm going to merge this cell, and I have 7 here. So let's say I have formula mentioning equals 6 plus B26. Sorry. If I drag this formula, okay, when I drag this formula in this cell, somebody here, right? Yeah. In this cell, it's B25 plus B26. No, that is B25 plus B26 is this plus this. 6 plus 7 is 13, correct? But when I copy the same formula from here and paste for the remaining cell, here the form answer is C25 plus C26. But when you take cell merge, this cell is not C26. In cell merge, it takes only the first cell's address. So this 7 is there in the B25, B26 cell only. It's not there in C26. It is not there in D26. So that is why you can see here and here that +7 has not come. Make sense? Okay. So here also what happens if you copy paste the formula, if it changes, if it becomes C3D3, the +3 will not get added because +3 is not there in all, even though the cells are merged, the +3 is not there in all the cells. +3 is there only in the first cell. Got it? Okay, Shaza. Perfect. Okay. I'll be continuing around 6:35, 6:36. Those who are praying or can pray and come, or else wait. Don't. Okay, sorry on the gap. Let's start now. Hassan, like I told you, dollar symbol is not something we add for fancy items. Dollar symbol is not something we just add for fun. There's a purpose. I told you the purpose, right? The purpose is when you're copy pasting formula, what you call the cell address changes. And if you don't want that cell address change, then you have to use the what you call absolute cell referencing. So without a problem, if you're going to use a solution, it's unwanted. And certain situations, it is not applicable. So in certain situations, using dollar symbol is a problem. Like if you give me a situation and show me, I can show you. But generally speaking, at certain situation, using dollar symbol is wrong. So therefore, my advice is don't just use it just because you have it. Just because you know something called dollar symbol, don't use it everywhere. Use it only when you have a problem. What is the problem? Copy and paste the formula and see, is there anything that doesn't have to change but is getting changed? And to stop that change, use the dollar symbol. So use it only when you notice a problem. If you don't have a problem, don't use it. Like I told you here, right? Here when I copy paste the formula, it changed. Now B2 changing is not a problem, so I left it as this. B3 changing is a problem, so I did it. So this dollar is important. But so in this, if you take this second answer, this is necessary. Without this, your answer is wrong. But this is wrong. When they're asking if the formula is to copy, then what is the formula in a cell? Again, I'm saying you copy paste and see, like what I did here. See, I copy paste and saw. If it's correct, then no issues. But if it's wrong, then rectify the issue. Manually do and see. One step. Only if there's a problem you can notice, rectify the problem. If there's no problem, just leave it. State the main change that should be done to the data entered in. Okay, as the next step, as the next task, the students are required to plot the graph for y equals x squared plus 5. Okay. State the main change that should be done made to the data entered in this worksheet. Main change that has to be made for the data in the worksheet. After making the above change, identify the cells whose cells values are automatically updated and write their cell reference. After making the above change, identify the cells whose cells values are automatically updated and write their cell references. As I know, the main change that has to be done is both has to be together. Values of x and y can't be in two different places. X, y. So if x and y are in two different places, as I know, you can't draw charts. Let's see. Data, insert, chart. You have to draw the line chart. Oh, no, you can draw. There's no issues. Yeah, you can draw without issue. So therefore, the data doesn't have to be rearranged as well. Identify the cells whose cells values are automatically updated. Ah, okay. Sorry. Now I understood the question. So the question is saying, now if you notice the question properly, all this time we were drawing the graph for y equals x squared plus 3. And the question is saying we want to plot the graph for x squared plus 5. That means what has got changed? If you compare these two, what is the change you can see in both of them? Yeah, just now I noticed it, Ira. Correct. 3 has got changed to y. So first question they're saying state the main change that should be made to the data entered in the worksheet. Okay. So that means to make this 3 become 5, which cell should you go and update? Correct. This cell. And I told you when you have a merge cell merge, it takes the first cell's address. What is the first cell? B3. So the question, the answer, state the main change that should be done. The main change that has to be done here is your answer for this has to be change the value of right here. Change the value in cell B3 to cell B3 from 3 to 5. Okay, whatever is 3, or make it 5. That's the first change. Next, they're saying after making the above change, identify the cells whose values are automatically updated and write their cell references. Okay. Now, when I change this 3 to 5, tell me this cell called B3, was it referenced anywhere else? Did I use it in a formula in a formula anywhere else? Yes. I used it when I'm finding the value of whom. Show me exact I'll check your exact answer. Wait, today. So can send me an answer which has that part. Correct. The values of y. So that means when this 3 becomes 5, this fellow's value will change, this fellow's value will change, this fellow's value will change, this, and this. So answer is basically B4 to H4. So question identify cells whose values are automatically updated and write their cell references. Their cell references are basically B4, C4, D4, and E4. Up to B4 to sorry H4. E, F, G, H. Okay. In terms of if you're asking me whether can we directly write FB4 to H4, I am not sure whether they give you marks for this because the question is not asking a cell range. The question is asking you the cells, identify the cells whose values are going to get changed and write their cell reference. So cell reference means cell address basically. Okay. So what do you call therefore mentioning the cell range? I'm not sure. For now, I'll give you marks for this as well. But because they have said identify the cells whose will change, I would prefer this sometimes. Again, both are correct. You can mark both correct. Is it C4? Sorry. My writing is a bit weird here. B4, comma, C4, comma, D4, comma, E4, comma, EFGH. B4 to H4. Okay. Is that clear? Have any questions? Drop in chat. Huh? Select the most appropriate graph type from the list to draw the graph. Okay. Out of these available charts, normally if you're doing graphs, do we draw graph in the form of pie charts? Do we draw graph in the form of pie charts? No. Do we draw a graph in the form of bar charts? Why is it GH? Sorry. It's my four is product owl vela. Oh, when I'm writing, I would have written in Mad Badar. That four is a product long vela. So bar chart is also wrong. Next, if you take scatter chart, you don't use scatter chart as well. Scatter chart is mostly when you have multiple set of data. Okay. For those who are wondering how does scatter chart looks like, I'll show how scatter chart looks. Scatter chart. This is how a scatter chart will look like collection of dots. Okay. This is how a scatter chart would look like. So is this how we draw a graph? Again, no. So that means the most suitable answer here is going to be the line chart. So if you write line chart, you get the answer correct. Now let's see the marks. So if I'm going to put 1 mark each, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But if I give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So marks are going to be something like this. For mentioning 10, half marks. For mentioning 6, half marks. For mentioning 11, 1 mark. Here for mentioning B1, half marks. C1, half marks. Cell C3 is H1, half marks. B3, half marks. Half marks each. Here for mentioning B1 or else B1 to the power 2, anything is correct, you get 1 mark. For mentioning equals count B1 to H1, 1 mark. For row number 4, 1 mark. 5A, 1 mark. Either cell range or else collection of cell letters, both are correct, 1 mark. Here line chart, 1 mark. Put the marks, all of you. No, no, nothing else in only. It's right. Should we mention both? Shouldn't we mention both for which one, Zora? Question 1, both. That's why if you mention only 10 half marks, only 6 half marks. You mention both, yes. Okay. Those who have any questions, let me know in the chat. Others, tell me how many marks you got out of 10. Those who have any questions, drop your question in the chat. And others, tell me out of 10 marks, how many marks you got. By the way, this whole question paper, I shared the PDF in the group, okay? This was a nice question, by the way. Anyways, any questions, you know? You know, you asking 5 minutes extra makes sense now. Okay, so with that, we're done for the paper class. If you all want, you all can stay and what do you call ask any of the doubts you have. There are some people who ask doubts, I'll be answering them. So if you're a jobless, you can stay, otherwise you can leave. The paper class is over from here. Okay, B2 to H2 plus 3. B2 to H2, which question are you referring to? The number 3 should be changed to number 5. B2 to H2 plus 3. 2. B2 to H2. B2 to H2 plus 3. That was my exact answer. No, we don't have to change B2 to H2, no. Why should we change B2 to H2? Why do you want to change the value of x squared? Why have you mentioned that B2 to H2 has to be changed? Sorry, fellow. I didn't get you. What I said was the paper class is over. Those who have doubts, you can stay and ask your doubts. And those who don't have doubts, if you all want, you can stay because I'm going to answer some other people's doubts. Like I already got a few people's doubts. So if you want, you can stay. It's your wish. At what time I going to end the session today? I don't know. Until the question last. If you're asking me up to date, what is the longest time period I have done a class, like answering doubts, okay? I think I finished the class, the content by 10 p.m. And then 10 p.m. finished class. I finished clearing doubts at 4 a.m. This was the longest I have gone for the class. So I think 8 o'clock I started the class, if I'm not wrong. 8 to 10 p.m. the class was done. So once the class was over, from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. I was doing doubt clearing. But I have mentioned that three should be changed. You have mentioned that in brackets. You are given second. That's what I'm saying. Don't complicate your answers. All of your answers are too much complicated. You're thinking that your teachers are marking only your paper. The teachers are marking hundreds of papers. So to keep your answers as simple as possible so that they see your mark, they see the marking scheme and they mark. Because sometimes the teachers don't mark your papers. They give your paper to be marked by their friends or their children or some relative. Like basically when I do exams as well, the exams I do, not all the majority of the papers I mark, but there are certain times I have given the papers for past students to mark. So there are certain students who are actually good in IT and they mark. So they, if you write the answer in different ways, they'll give you correct. But the people who look at the marking scheme and correct, they'll be like, okay, is your answer matching with the marking scheme answer? Which matching, correct. Which not matching, no. I have mentioned that, yeah, not the cell address. So basically, that part in the brackets, you have mentioned the brackets only that no. So they will read the sentence. So when they read the sentence, they'll be like, okay, you have asked to change this. This doesn't need to be changed. Like you have in your answer, you have mentioned to change these values. You don't have to change these values. They'll be okay. You have mentioned to change these values, and they'll cut the marks. If you want, you can go in the paper discussion. You can go and fight with the teacher and be like, I wrote this, no, give marks. So that time she will give you marks in the paper discussion. But it's just the same. No, you have mentioned to change the value in the B. How much B? B2 to H2. So B2 to H2 is this. What do you want to change here? No. The question is asking what is the change to do. So the change to do is your change is 3 to 5. HRI. Nothing else. Change the value inside B3 from 3 to 5. HRI. Keep it simple as possible. What happened to Manasachi and other students? What do you mean by that? I'm out of context, Indira. Yes, Barakallah. You're welcome. Good night. The 4 a.m. class. There was breaks in between, like 10-15 minutes break was there to once, I think 1 or 2 breaks maximum. I think one break was there, like 10-15 minutes I gave to go have something. Which batch? Only 25, the last batch. For 5A, for VA, I wrote adding value must be changed to 5. Is that wrong? Correct. Because in the spreadsheet it's mentioned adding value, no? So it's correct. But be a bit more specific so your answer is very clear. Aren't you feeling, didn't you feel sleepy? It's like this when the class is not active, like when I answer questions, if you all are going to like I had to wait for like hours for you to answer, that's where I get like tired and boring and all the stuff. But when I have instant answer, like I ask the question, I get the answer. I ask the question, I get the answer. And when it's like a discussion, what do you call we can do it more actively. Talha, your message disappeared the next second. What was it? Were they allowed to speak? No. There was, for your information, and there was around 20 students until 4 a.m. if I'm not wrong. 3, 4 a.m. Send Talha, let's see. Yes, Hassan, you can ask any questions you want. You're welcome. Have a nice day, Aushti. How are you awake? As usual, I guess, cracking some stupid jokes and being awake. What to do? Will you make us suffer like that? Definitely. Why not? Okay. Let me take your question now, Hannah. From which oral batch? Your sister, Suraya. Aren't you tired? Exactly. I think I was fasting that time, Bill, also. Oh, kind of, yes, sir. Didn't. Let me take your question. Oh, 2020, Suraya. Okay. The following pseudocode is used to select candidates based on age, height, and weight. Anna, here, right? Age, height, and weight for an interview for a certain job. Okay, perfect. If age is greater than or equal to 21 and age is less than or equal to 40 and height is blah 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 blah. Okay, fine. Then output qualified for the interview. Okay, perfect. Oh, it's a continuation. Else output not qualified for the interview. Why did my network change? My phone has not been off. I don't do it for money. Sorry. That's the fantasy, Suraya. Which question are you referring to, Ryan? Hana, what you called? So the question is saying that two candidates, Smith and Raju. Where is my pins? Why can't I write anything here? Is it a network issue again? Give me a moment, I'll jump the networks. Two, three. Mic testing one, two, three. Okay, it's working. Ryan, they might cut 1 or 2 marks for that. Zura, send me a sample. Can I help you? Yes, Saila. That's how I know. Okay. So they are saying two candidates, Smith and Raju, have the following values for age, height, and weight. Who will be qualified for the interview? Okay, let me show you how you do this, Silu. So there is a method of how you can find whether someone is qualified or not. To find whether it's qualified, you have to solve this equation. What is the equation? Sorry, this condition. What is the condition? If age is greater than 21, less than 40, that's the condition we're going to solve. So let's check and see. We did a different question there. That was like 2016 or 17 oral paper. That had the same idea, but different values. So if you take Smith, first let's take Smith. Huh? If you take Smith, what is Smith's age? Hannah, what is Smith's age? Definitely A. Tyler. Maths was all jujube, like water. Look at the table and tell me what is Smith's age. It's literally mentioned there in the table. Nice look at the table, Hannah. What is Smith's age? Anna, correct. Smith is 26 years. Okay. So what I'm going to do is this 20 age mentioned here are variables now. I'm going to replace that with 26. So I'll be like, if 26 is greater than or equal to 21, and I'm going to replace here the age with, again, is 26 less than or equal to 40. And height. What is Smith's height? Yeah, it's like water. Correct, 157 centimeter. So I'm going to check is 157 greater than or equal to 155, or is weight. What is Smith's weight? Isn't 157 really short? Kind of. It's my if I think I stand at Smith, he might be like up to my shoulder level or like less than that. Short guy. What is his weight? Nah. What is Smith's weight? Correct, 52. So I'm going to check is 52 greater than or equal to 55. Okay, now to solve this equation. Let me show you how you can solve the equation now. Where is the lasso tool? Okay, I'm going to resolve this. I'm going to solve this equation. Let me show you. I am 170 or as I can remember. So there's like a 20 centimeters difference. 20 centimeters like almost my shoulder level. Okay, let's resolve this equation now. Nah, this dance is better at that, Tyler. Okay, so you're short. Compared to Rizlan, no, I'm tall. I mean, I'm 170 odd. I said if Smith and I stand, I'm 177 if I'm too precise as I can remember. So if Smith and I stand, Smith will be in my shoulder level, I said. Got it? Okay. So first we're going to solve every bracket one by one. Let's do one by one. Here we're going to go and check is 26 greater than or equal to 21? True or false? Hmm, correct. 26 is greater. So I have true, and here is 26 less than or equal to 40? True or false? Is 26 less than 40? Again, true. Then I have the word called and. I'm again bringing that here. Then what do you call the true and true? So you have true here and true. And is 157 less than or equal to 155? Yes or no? I mean, true or false? Is 157 less than 155? Sorry. Is 157 greater than or equal to 155? Is 157 greater than or equal? Yes, true. Then we have the word called or. I'm bringing that as well here. Then is 52 greater than or equal to 55? True or false? 52 is greater than or equal to 55. True or false. So now currently I'm in a place like this. I have true and true and true or false. So now I had to resolve this portion. Now use the OR gate and tell me for the OR gate, if one of the input is true, other input is false. That means for the OR gate, if one is true, one is false. What will be the result of the OR gate? True or false? Like use logic gate knowledge and tell me. For the OR gate, do you know how to find the answer? I am lagging. Why am I lagging? Why am I lagging? Am I still lagging? Okay, so what my question was, for the OR gate, if one of the input was true, other input was false, then what will be the results? True or false? I'll tell you. For example, I'm telling if you want to come for the class, you have to have the pen or pencil. There's a person who doesn't have the pen and pencil. Can this person come for the class? Hmm? No, no. No. There is a person who has a pen but don't have the pencil. Can he come for the class? Why can't he come for the class? I'm saying to come for the class, you have to have the pen or pencil. Does he have the pen or pencil? Pen or pencil? He has, right? So he can come. There's a person who don't have the pen but have pencil. Can he come for the class? There's a person who has both. Can he come for the class? Again, yes. Because why? I am asking him, do you have the pen or pencil? That's how all works. Now, similarly, tell me if I am telling to come for the class, you have to have the pen and pencil. So let's say let's say there's a person who doesn't have both pen and pencil, he doesn't have both. Can he come for the class? Yes, today they all gets. No. Let's say there is a person who don't have the pen but have the pencil. Can he come for the class? No. There's a person who has a pen but don't have the pencil. Can he come for the class? No. There's a person who has both pen and pencil. Can he come for the class? Yes. Because why? I'm saying if you want to come for the class, you'd have the pen and pencil. So only this fellow has pen and pencil. But here I'm saying pen or pencil. Okay, either one of them you'd have, right? So keep in mind, whenever the word called or is used, or gives the idea of either. Is either one of the inputs present? Is either pen or pencil present? But if you take and goes and checks, are all the inputs present? Which means is pen and pencil, is both of them present? Okay. So in programming, these are called operators. What do you call this addition? What do you call plus, minus, multiplication? These are called arithmetic operators. If you take greater than symbol, less than symbol, sorry, greater than symbol, less than symbol, equal symbol, not equal symbol, these are all called comparison operators. Arithmetic operators, these are called comparison operators. Then we have the word called and, or, not. These are called logical operators. Okay, so these are what we use inside equations. I mean, there are more. I have just given you a few here. Okay, so this and or and not, this comes under something called logical operators. It works just like how logic gates work. So you're going to go and check true or false. So when you say true or false, it's something like this: true or false. One of the input is true, other one is false. So if it's true or false, what will the result of that be? Or gate checks is either one of the inputs true. Is either one of the inputs true? Yes. So in programming, yes means what? True or false? Yes represents true and no represents false. So the result of this true or false is going to become true. Is that clear? What do you mean by interview discriminating? I didn't get your point, Talha. Angry is direct. That's a different story. There is no practical no. You mean the HTML? HTML, yeah. Yes, I know. Even online also we do it. No, we use star Talha. Sorry, dot dot. Anyways, Hannah, did you get the idea of this true? Yes, right? Okay. Next. Now, if you look at the equation, we have something is true and true and true. So for the AND gate, okay, let's go one by one, okay? Let's go first. We have this AND gate here. For this AND gate, the input here is also true. The input here is also true. So what will be the result of this? True and true? Something like this. For the AND gate, we have true and true. So true and true means the result is true. So now we have the equation as true and true. Like I have taken these two here. Again, true and true. What the result? True. So that means based on this, we can say that this if condition is going to become true. So this whole if condition becomes true, that means Smith is qualified to for the interview. Make sense? Yeah, you can join Ida. Perfect. Now comes the next question. In this question, it made your work easy by giving brackets. Sometimes brackets will not be given. So if brackets is not given, for example, let's say you have an equation like this. If you had something like is 157, let's say we had something is 157 greater than 150 and 140 is less than 32. Or let's say we had the equation, you solve the equation, okay? Let's say the equation, you solve the equation, and you end up in something like this. True or true and false. Let's say you have ended up in such situation. Now you might have the doubt, should I solve these two first or should I solve these two first? Okay. So keep in mind, normally if you take an equation, solving an equation, first of all, you have to solve all the arithmetic operators. What time we have to solve all the arithmetic operators? If it had something like 5 plus 3, 4 plus 2, 4 minus 2, whatever things that are done using these plus, minus, multiplication, division, you have to solve that first. Okay. After you solve all the arithmetic operators part, second priority you give for conditional operators, meaning less than, greater than, all those stuffs. So comparison operators. Second priority you give for comparison operators. And the final priority, the last priority only you give for logical operators. Now, when you're dealing with logical operators, there is an order. Just like in arithmetic operators, there's order. What is the order when you're solving in arithmetic operators? What do you do first? Brackets and then? Yeah, it's possible. Correct. Bod mess, also known as bed mess. Okay. Where E stands for exponential, that power symbol, like 2 to the power 2. It is called the exponential symbol. Okay. So when you take logical operators also, there's an order. The order is, first of all, you have to resolve whatever is there in the brackets. After brackets, second preference you give for NOT gate. Third preference you give for AND gate and NAND gate. And the last preference only you give for OR gate and NOR gate. Is that clear? So if you have all this, then first of all you should do AND gate, which means you should do this first and this second. Make sense? Is that clear? Huh? But and are opposite, no. Yeah, I'm saying the order, preference, the order of resolving. For your information, you don't get and no in programming questions. So you don't have to worry about that. But if you get sorry, and no, NAND and N has the equal amount of preference. O and no has the equal amount of preference. Preference means like order. What are you going to resolve? What are you going to solve first? You can see like order, right? I asked you, we have something that's true or true and true and true. So are you going to solve this first or this first? In those kind of situations, how you decide is based on this order. Anyway, you don't have to worry about NAND and no because that's not there in programming in Pascal. Anyways, tell me, are you clear about this part? The brackets, not and or? Okay. In a similar way, if you go and solve for Raju, okay, if you take Raju, Raju's age is 23. So you'll go and check, is 23 greater than or equal to 21? And is age, that means is 23 less than or equal to 40? And his height, Raju's height is 154. So is 154 greater than or equal to 155? Or is Raju's weight 54 greater than or equal to 55? And just like how we did previously, you solve this equation. So if I'm going to solve this equation, the same way I did earlier, why are these guys really short? Go and ask them why are they short. I think they're not eating their proteins properly. Is the answer false for the example you gave? No, it's true. My example I gave here, true and false is going to become false. So true or false? It's true. It's true, Surya. Because you do this first. After you do this first, you get the answer is false. You take this here, you take this here. So it's like this. Make sense? Okay. So Hana, 23 greater than or equal to 21. This is going to give you true. Then you have end here. Is 23 less than 40? Again, true. You have end here. Is 154 greater than 155? No, false. Is 54 greater than 55? Again, no. So false. So if you solve this equation, false or false, the result is going to be false. And we have here true and true and false. So if I'm going to go in step by step and resolve it, true and true is going to be true. Bring these two down and false. So true and false, the result is false. So in terms of the second fellow, which is Raju, he can't get qualified. Only the first fellow can get qualified. So answer is Smith only. Is that clear, Hannah? If a person don't take their proteins properly, they will be short. Yes. Is it based on the inheritance of their family? There are multiple factors. Protein is one of the factors. Perfect. Any other questions, anyone? Anyone having any questions? No, Hannah. Those are like the normal general knowledge. Can we do the post? Zura, can I know what is your requirement basic? Like, what should you do? What should you make? Like, what's your idea which you were saying that you can't get it? What's your concept? No, Hannah, no. Okay, what's your topic? What are the content? What do you want to include in it? Yeah, Hannah.